Explanation of Chapter 1 from Hornbill, titled as The Portrait of a Lady, written by Kushwant Singh. About the author. The author was born in the year 1915 and is an Indian author, lawyer, diplomat, journalist, and politician. His experience in the 1947 partition of India inspired him to write Train to Pakistan in 1956, which became his well known novel. He has won many awards, Padma Bhushan, Padma Vibhushan, and Punjab Ratna Award also. Before moving on, let's understand the meaning of certain expressions. The thought was almost revolting means that it was something very hard to believe. An expanse of pure white serenity means that a very calm, relaxed, and peaceful character. A turning point means a sudden happening in the life. Accepted her seclusion with resignation means accepting the loneliness without any objection. A veritable bedlam of chirping means a very confused state of the noise of the birds. Frivolous rebukes means light-hearted scoldings. The sagging skins of the dilapidated drums means that the skin of the worn-out drum. Let's move on to the explanation of the chapter. The author talks about his grandmother. He had known her for the past 20 years and she had always been old and wrinkled. He was told that she was once young and pretty and had a husband. His grandfather's portrait hung on the wall, in which he wore loose fitted clothes, a turban, and a long white colored beard that reached his chest. Here she stands for grandmother, and two of the characteristics of grandmother was she was very religious lady and a very believed in kindness towards animal also. The author says that his grandmother was like everyone's grandmother. She was an old woman and had wrinkles on her skin, and he had known his grandmother for the past 20 years. Wrinkles means having lines or folds on the face and hands skin. His grandfather's portrait, that is picture, hung above the mantelpiece in the drawing room. He appeared very old, and the author thought that he was someone who could have many grandchildren but not a wife or children. He had long white beard which covered the best part of his chest, and he looked at least 100 years old. He looked very, very ancient. The grandfather never looked like a person who could have a wife or children. He looked as if he could have only lots and lots, means many grandchildren. The author further talks about his grandmother, that it was very difficult. Revolting means it was very difficult for the author to believe that his grandmother could have been young and pretty when she was in her childhood. And it was also very hard to believe about the games that she used to play as a child. When all these things were narrated to Kushwant Singh, it was very hard to believe that his grandmother could have actually played with her cousins, and whenever she used to tell about her childhood memories involving certain games. Now, these stories which she used to said, it looked as if they were illogical and disrespectful because it was beyond the imagination. It looked like as if the grandmother could have been once a child and played such games. The author further says that her life stories were like other moral stories which she used to tell them. He further adds that his grandmother had always been short and fat and slightly bent. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. The author was certain that she had always been an old woman. She was so terribly old that she could have grown older and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. She hobbled about the house in spotless white with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the beads of her rosary. The author considers his grandmother as a beautiful lady, but it was hard for him to believe that she could have been a pretty woman too. Hobbled means to walk in an awkward manner, and the grandmother used to wear spotless in the sense that it was totally clean and white colored dress, and this signifies that she was a widow, and in her one hand the rosary beads were there, and one hand the other hand was always resting on her waist to balance the stoop means to bend one's body forward, and she used to tell the beads of her rosary. Telling the beads of her rosary means that moving her fingers around those rosaries and chanting some religious prayer. Her silver locks means over here hair. Her hair was totally disorganized. It was not at all neatly combed or groomed, and her face was pale in color. Pale is yellowish, puckered face, and her lips were constantly moving in inaudible means, which is hard to hear or when you are unable to hear, inaudible prayer. But yes, the author acknowledges once again that his grandmother was very, very beautiful. So again, this is about the appearance of the grandmother, how Kushwant Singh describes the appearance of his grandmother, who was whom he had known for the past 20 years. Her lips always moved in an inaudible prayer. The other hand, she had the rosary beads. She kept on telling the rosary beads. On one hand, was also on the stoop. She was fat and short and had silver hair and wore silver dress also. Puckered over here means a face contract into wrinkles. The author describes his grandmother with the simile that she was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. That means his grandmother was having a very calm and relaxed sort of a character she was, and her total from head to toe she was totally in white, that has been compared to the winter landscape in the mountains, and she was a character full of pure white serenity. Serenity means that very calm and relaxed and peaceful state of mind. The author says that his grandmother and him, they both were good friends, and his parents had left him along with his grandmother in the village as they had gone to live in the city. So he over here, Kushwant Singh tells about the routine what the grandmother and he himself used to do early in the morning, and how the grandmother helped him to wake up in the morning, and then she used to tell the morning prayers in a monotonous means a very dull and boring sing song way, while giving him a bath and dressing him, hoping that he would listen to the prayer and memorize it. But Kushwant Singh says that I just loved the voice of my grandmother, but he did not have any intention or he was not at all concerned to learn the prayers. The author lived with his grandmother in the village and they were very good friends. His parents had left him with her to settle in the city. The author's grandmother used to wake him up every morning and get him ready to school. She would make his things ready like the wooden slate, a tiny earthen ink pot, and a red pen. Then he would eat a thick stale chapati with butter and sugar spread on it. The ink pot, red pen and all, and a tiny earthen ink pot with the yellow chalk and red pen. She used to tie them all in a bundle and hand it over to her grandson. After the breakfast of a thick, stale chapati with a little butter and sugar which was spread on it, they both went to school together. The reason why both of them went to school together was because the school was attached to a temple. The grandmother used to carry some stale chapatis along with herself for feeding the village dogs. Kushwant Singh's grandmother would accompany him to the school as the temple was attached to the school, and she used to visit the temple daily. On one side, Kushwant Singh would sit on the veranda with other children and would sing the alphabet and prayers in the chorus. On the other hand, the grandmother would also sit in the temple to read the scriptures. Scriptures means over here the sacred writings of a particular religion. So, religious book the grandmother used to read in the temple. After both of them have finished, they would walk back home together, and the village dogs met them at the village door. The dogs would come as near to the temple to eat the stale chapatis. They would always follow them to their home, growling and fighting. Growling means to make a low guttural sound in the throat, and fighting with each other for the chapatis that they threw at the dogs. When Kushwant Singh's parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent a message that both of them, the grandmother and Kushwant Singh, now could come to the city to stay with Kushwant's father and mother. And that was a turning point in their friendship. Turning point in the sense that something major happening in their life. Although they both shared the same room, his grandmother was no longer coming to school with him as Kushwant Singh went to an English school, and that too travelled in a school bus. In cities, there were no dogs in the streets, so the grandmother actually, instead of feeding to the dogs which were not there, she started to feed sparrows in the veranda of their city house. As the years went by, the time passed, and all, the author and his grandmother saw little or very less of each other because author became busy going to the English medium school. Though she continued to wake the author up and get him ready for school, but in other matters she could not help her grandson. Whenever Kushwant used to come back, the grandmother would ask him that what was being taught to him in the English medium school, and the author would tell her that certain things like the Western science and the learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, and the world being round, etc. So he was studying different subjects. Listening to this, she was quite unhappy, very sad to listen because she could not help Kushwant Singh with his lessons as she did not know English. She also could not believe that the English school was not giving any teaching or learning about God and scriptures. So she was quite distressed. She was full of anxiousness and quite disappointed also with the teachings of the English school. One day, the author announced to his grandmother that they were being given music lessons. Hearing to this, she was quite disturbed, and according to her, music had lewd associations, means it was quite indecent and obscene to pursue music. So she also thought that it was the monopoly in the sense that the only thing of harlots, means people, those who are selling themselves off like prostitutes and beggars, and it was not meant for people of noble birth. So she felt that music was not at all good for decent people. Though the grandmother didn't voice her opinion freely, but her silence meant that she disapproved of the music lessons which was being given to Kushwant Singh in an English medium school. Right after that, the grandmother rarely talked to the author after this incident. When the author went to an university, he was given a room of his own, and this common bond of friendship, it suddenly snapped. Snapped means it suddenly broke completely, and suddenly it broke. The author further says that his grandmother accepted her seclusion, means loneliness and all, with resignation, means without any objection. She was always busy with her spinning wheel, and she kept herself so busy that she didn't even get time to even speak to the other family members. From sunrise to sunset, she would sit and silently recite her prayers. And in the afternoon, she used to feed sparrows in the veranda, breaking the bread into small pieces. She would feed hundreds of birds. The birds would gather around her. Some sat near her, some on her legs, some on her shoulders, and few on her head also. There was a lot of noise of, that is, chirping from these sparrows, and hundreds of them, they all used to chirp in a very confused manner. A loud and confused state of noise is called as the veritable bedlam. She kept a smiling face and she never actually shooed these sparrows away. Shooed over here means that to make a person or an animal go away. And that half an hour was the happiest half an hour of the grandmother's daily routine. That is when she fed the sparrows, hundreds of these sparrows. That was the happiest half an hour of the day for her. When the author decided to go abroad for further studies, he believed that it would be the last time that he would be seeing her, as he would be gone for 5 long years. But his grandmother could believe that she would be there, still alive in those 5 years also. The author realized that his grandmother was not at all sentimental. That is, she was not an emotional lady. She didn't become sad. She didn't have any feeling whatsoever. When she went to see off her grandson at the railway station, she was totally emotional-less. Her lips kept on moving in prayer, and her mind was also lost in the prayer, and her fingers were busy telling the beads of the rosary. Very silently, the grandmother kissed the author's forehead, and the author kept cherished this contact, this physical contact with his grandmother, and thought that it might be the last physical contact between both of them, as he feared that his grandmother won't be alive after he comes back from his studies abroad. But that did not happen, and after 5 years, when the author returned back home, he was met by his grandmother at the station, and she looked exactly how he had left her. She didn't even look a day older. She still had no time for talking, and words won't come out of her mouth. She just gave a very tight sort of a hug to the author, and he could hear the reciting of the prayers that she still did. On the first day of the author's arrival, the grandmother was extremely happy, and the author also realizes that the time that she spent with the sparrows were the happiest hours of the day, and she never used to be giving rebukes, frivolous rebukes to the sparrows. She never scolded them. She always had a light-hearted scoldings and all for the sparrows. In the evening, a change came over her regular routine of praying. She collected a few women from the neighborhood and got an old drum and started singing and playing the drum with them. She thumped the ruined part of the drum and sang along. For several hours, she had hit the sinking skins of the dilapidated beams and old and worn out drum, and sang about the homecoming of warriors. The family members of the author requested her to stop and avoid this overstraining, but that was the first time that the author had known his grandmother that she did not pray on that day. The whole family actually persuaded the grandmother to stop as she might get ill due to exhaustion. The next morning, she fell ill and it was a mild fever. The doctors who visited told the family members of the author that it would go away, but the grandmother took it differently. According to her, she knew that she would die soon and her end was near. According to her, she would die soon as her end was near, so she started chanting prayers as she didn't want to waste her time and her last hours in talking to anyone. The family members of the author protested, objected, but the grandmother ignored their protests and lay very peacefully in her bed, praying and telling her beads. Now, even before they could suspect something or realize something, the grandmother's lips stopped moving and the rosary beads fell from her lifeless hands. And a very peaceful appearance, a peaceful pallor spread on her face, and they all came to know that she was no longer alive. The family lifted her from the bed and laid her on the ground and wrapped her with a red colored cloth. After a few hours of mourning, they left her alone to make certain arrangements for the cremation or for her funeral. In the evening, they went with the stretcher to take the body for cremation, and the sun was setting during that time, and a golden light was being spread in the room and veranda. Just halfway in the veranda or the courtyard, all the family members stopped because the entire veranda where the grandmother lay dead, it was totally covered with these thousands of sparrows who were sitting in and around the dead body of the grandmother on the floor. Thousands of sparrows sat very silently near the grandmother's dead corpse. There was no noise of chirping coming, and all the family members of the author they took pity on the birds. They felt sorry for the birds, and Kushwant Singh's mother went and brought some breadcrumbs for the sparrows. She made it into small pieces the way the author's grandmother used to feed the sparrows and threw at them, but they did not even acknowledge or look at the crumbs of the bread. And when the grandmother's corpse was lifted off, thousands of these sparrows they flew away quietly, and the next morning the sweeper swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. As they did not want to eat the bread, and as if the sparrows themselves were mourning the death of the one who had fed them for so many days. And with this, we conclude the chapter The Portrait of a Lady, written by Kushwant Singh.